Folks, moving on. Final arrangements. Tough decisions. I'm going to need you to think about it. What do you want? Cremation? Burial, right? Think about that. It's important to memorialize that in your plan. Sadly, when my dad passed, everything was easy breezy. My brother met with the funeral director. I said, how did the meeting go? He said, easy breezy. He said, every question that funeral director asked Patrick, we had all the answers in Dad's red book and his instructions to his final arrangements. What church, what priest, what pallbearers, what prayers, who's singing the hymns, what cemetery, where the after-hour celebration is going to be, and so forth and so forth. Even right down to how it was going to be paid for, check the box, elaborate, moderate, economical, because that way your family knows the family budget. Talked to families over the years, even recently. Hey, Patrick, when my parent passed, the family wanted the very best. They're getting the mahogany wood casket with gold-plated this and that, and they overspent, and then they had debt afterwards and so forth. So, be prudent and wise about it, and memorialize your instructions for your final arrangements. Some of our clients get very detailed. They'll even pre-write your obituary, take all the work out of it for their family, to allow their family to mourn, grieve, and celebrate and memorialize them, and not be burdened with making difficult business decisions in those moments, because studies have been done when the human brain is grieving and mourning the loss of a loved one. It's really difficult for people to make good business decisions. So memorialize it in writing for your loved ones, folks, because again, that will help keep the family on the front side of the cloud when they're going through that mourning, grieving process, okay? Folks, right here, this is a form of a will. If you're creating a trust, and that's another program, we always create this guy as a backup, a safety net. We call it belt and suspenders protection. One of my colleagues calls that a legal pooper scooper. Again, remember from our other programs, your will is not ideal because your will is your admission ticket to probate court, but you need a backup called a pour over will, which is different than a simple will. Like a pitcher of water, it will legally pour your asset into your trust after you're gone, okay? Again, one of my colleagues calls it a legal pooper scooper because it's not ideal. It's going to be messy. And that's what he meant by that, because you still have to file that will to probate court. You still have to put all family members on notice, which may not be ideal. Could be someone who's disinherited or a disgruntled family member. And you have to notify creditors as well. So you want to keep your affairs out of probate court. I often say, sadly, because people die, trusts do not. So you want to get all your treasures into your trust or your treasure chest. And again, that's in another program. Step one is your trust. Step two is get your treasures in there, your houses, your non-real estate, your cash, whatever it may be. Because sadly, people die, trusts do not. But say, for example, if you forget to get a treasure in there, you forget to put one of your houses in there or a bank account or whatever it may be, that pour over will legally pour it into your trust after you go up your cloud. It's not ideal. You want to avoid that, but it's necessary because people sometimes will overlook an asset or acquire a new asset as they're journeying through the path of life and forget to get it into their trust or treasure chest, okay? All right. Folks, personal property memorandum. Here is where you put family heirlooms. I've seen families fighting over furniture after mom and dad are gone just because they need something tangible to fight over. It's got to put the family on the backside of the cloud. Think about it. Think about it. I had a conversation with my late dear mom years ago, driving home after watching the Patriots game, and she said, Patrick, I'm not going to be here forever. Is there anything you like that you would want now? Talking about personal property. And she had this old picture at home in a frame hanging on the wall. And it was fond to me because as little boys, little kids, my mom and dad raised seven boys in the city of Boston and Dorchester neighborhood. I said, Mom, that old picture you used to have, and we thought it was my mom, but it was just a painting of a woman. It looked like a Sound of Music, a woman on a rock with a bonnet, and she looked like she was singing. And when we were little children, my mom used to say, we said, Mom, who's that lady in the picture? She used to be teasing us in a playful way. She'd say, oh, that's your mom back in Ireland calling for the cows to come home. And we believed her at the time. And then as we got a little bit older, we're like, oh, Mom was just pulling our legs. She's being playful and so forth. She liked to do that. She had a sweetheart, very loving. And I said, Mom, I have fond memories attached to that photo, that old painting. So when we got home to her home that night, it was wintertime. She still had her winter jacket on. She went into her dining room, turned the light on, took that picture and handed it to me. Patrick, you take it. So I still have that photo as a heirloom as a memory, a fond memory of my dear mom in that moment where she was being playful with us. I had her ask her back then, I said, Mom, where did you get this photo? She goes, oh, your late Uncle Sonny, he was a painter when he came to the country. He found it in the trash out of the curb and he gave it to my mom. So the thing wasn't worth a nickel monetarily, but to me, sentimentally, it was worth $1 million. And I still have that today, along with my mom's prayer book as well, her marriage prayer book. And I have that as well, given to her from my late dad when we were engaged. And so there are things you want to put in there. Could be jewelry, things of that nature. If you have daughters, you don't want them fighting over the jewelry. Specify who's getting what. Have these conversations with your loved ones, just like my late dear mom did with me. Because some of the children might see it as a treasure, or some children may see it as trash. Like that case with the family fighting over an old table. They just needed something tangible to fight over, which is very unfortunate, is because it's going to put the family on the backside of the cloud. Family strife, family harm. You don't want that. You want to preserve and protect those family relations. Have those conversations with your loved ones. Hey, I got this for you. My necklace, my ring, grandma's ring, whatever it may be, and memorialize that in writing in your personal property memorandum. Folks, lastly, this guy right here. We issue what we call a first responder medical card to our clients in our client care alumni program. And I would recommend that too if you're working with your elder law attorney, because there's a lot of good technology out there today, so your family doesn't have to walk around with the red book or look for the red book in a time of disability. Like, where's the healthcare proxy? Where's the medical directives? We have to give them to the doctor. I can't find them. They're at the house. The house is locked up. It's the middle of the night. It's a weekend. Nobody can find the red book. And you can't prove to the medical providers that you are the appointed healthcare agent, or worse yet, they don't know how to contact you. This guy right here, first responder medical card. After you design and sign your Big 6 disability planning, strongly recommend find a service where you have this card in membership that we give our clients, and you have that card in your wallet and your purse. So either a first responder will find it, or a family member should have a copy of it as well. Take a picture front and back. Share it with your loved ones. In a medical emergency, they don't have to find your red book and the hard copies of your Big 6 disability planning, because they're going to be saved with this first responder medical card provider. And all you have to do is call that company 24/7, anywhere in the world. And your Big 6 disability, your healthcare proxy, your advanced medical directives, your HIPAA authorization, and so on, will be faxed over and sent to your medical providers. And the beautiful thing, they'll know who you are, how to treat you medically, and also who they should contact on your emergency call list. Call my spouse, Bill and Mary. If they don't pick up the phone, go right to my number 2 pick. If they don't pick up the phone, go to my number 3 pick right there. So they know who to speak and they know how to contact them. Another pro tip, always important to put telephone numbers, mostly cell phone numbers, the can be reached numbers, the best ones these days, of your loved ones right in that healthcare proxy as well. So when the Big 6 disability plan are faxed over to, say, the emergency room, they get a copy of that and they can see who the healthcare agent is, and they have your phone number, and they can immediately contact your loved one to communicate to them that you are at the emergency room. Yes. So really, really important. That's a pro tip right there. Strongly recommend get some type of service that will facilitate and make this less stressful for your family. Okay, folks. Folks, there we have it right there. That is the Big 6 disability planning right there. These are pre-planning power tools you ought to have in your elder law toolbox to avoid disability probate. Things like guardianships and conservatorships at the probate court. These right here are the metaphorical sword and shield that ought to avoid the metaphorical first-headed monster, disability probate. I'll share another brief case. A colleague of mine is an experienced probate attorney. He's appointed as an incapacitated woman's conservator to manage her financial affairs, to pay her medical bills at the nursing home. He worked on her case for about 6 months. Guess what his legal bill was? By the hour. His firm billing by the hour for that 6-month period, it was about $50,000. Folks, When I think about that, imagine, wonder, who could have benefited from that $50,000 rather than a court-appointed probate attorney, right? If you put together a comprehensive durable power attorney in the third quarter of life, who in your life could have benefited or could benefit from that $50,000 rather than paying a court-appointed probate attorney, a stranger, to manage your financial affairs for you? And likely in that case, I didn't ask beyond that, there was likely a legal guardian likely appointed as well, because if you didn't have something in writing and family members aren't coming forward, then the court is going to appoint a court-appointed conservator and then a court-appointed guardian ad litem. And again, they're not free. All right? So take that personal responsibility, folks, in the third quarter of life. Put your Big Six disability planning in place now, while you're alive and well. Now, third quarter of life, right here. Do not wait until the fourth quarter of life right there, folks. Really, really important. So there you have it right there, folks. Big Six disability planning and the extra additional right there. Folks, thanks for joining us here today at elderlawcare.com. Recommend check out some of our other programs because you will also learn a lot. We'll see you next time at elderlawcare.com. Patrick Kelleher.